So in this video, we're going to be looking at stereoisomerism, an example of it, which is going to be isomerism, as well as, of course, Cahn-Ingold-Prelog priority rules and determining whether we've got an isomer. Now, starting off, we need to know the definition for stereoisomers. We say they're going to be compounds with the same structural formula, but they've got a different arrangement of atoms in space itself. Now, let's say if I were to look at the following molecule over here, where I've got 1,2-dichloroethene, I can actually draw out the structure where I end up with a carbon-carbon double bond, and then I've got a chlorine attached here, let's say, and a chlorine attached there. I fill out my remaining hydrogens, and so you can see my structure over here. Now, in terms of these chlorine atoms over here, normally when we deal with alkanes, which consist of carbon-carbon single bonds, we know, of course, our chlorine atom, it doesn't really matter where it's bonded, as long as it's bonded to the same carbon atom. So we could have had it here, or we could have had it here as well. It's still going to be called the same thing, and we've got the same structure, just rotated. Now, that's because, of course, our carbon-carbon single bonds can rotate, and we can end up with that same structure again. But the thing is, where we deal with, of course, a double bond, like over here I've got a carbon-carbon double bond, where we're dealing with alkenes, we can actually end up with no rotation taking place, and so where our chlorine or our hydrogen goes on each side actually matters. Now, let's say if I were to draw this structure out again, where I've got my carbon-carbon double bond, I can end up with a chlorine up here, a chlorine down here this time, and then I can end up with a hydrogen here and a hydrogen over here as well. Now, if I were to look at the differences between the two, we can actually just take two groups that are the same. Let's say in this case we're dealing with chlorine, and you can see they're on the same side over here, whereas over here I've got two groups that are going to be on opposite sides of the carbon-carbon double bond. We've got two compounds with the same structural formula, but they've got a different arrangement of atoms in space, and that's what you can see over here, where on the left they're on the same side, where on the right they're going to be on opposite sides of the carbon-carbon double bond. Now, that actually comes onto an isomerism called Z isomerism, where we can end up with Z, the Zusammen isomer, where both groups of priority, or even both same groups, they're going to be on the same side. Of course, you can see over here, I've got here both of my chlorines, they're going to be at the same side of the carbon-carbon double bond, so we call this a Z isomer. And then I can also end up with an E isomer, the Entgegen isomer, and that's where both groups, they're going to be at either side. So in that case, you've actually got your carbon chlorine over here, and then you've got your carbon chlorine bond over here. You can see, of course, these two groups, they're going to be at opposite sides of each other. They're going to be at opposite sides of the carbon-carbon double bond. Now, this arrangement is very important, and of course it leads to two different names of these compounds and two different products when you come to different reactions. So let's say if we were to name these two compounds, we know in both cases we're going to end up with 1,2-dichloroethene, but in the case where the chlorines are attached on the same side of the carbon-carbon double bond, we could call this Z in brackets, and then we would put hyphen, and this would be Z, and then it's going to be 1,2-dichloroethene. If I were to deal with the other one, I would actually call it E, because of course it's going to be Entgegen, they're going to be opposite sides, and I would say I've got 1, 2, and then it's going to be dichloroethene. So the name's actually going to be the same for both of these, but of course we put Z for the Z isomer and then E in brackets with a hyphen after it, of course, for the E isomer itself as well. Now, what are the requirements when it comes to having Z isomerism? Well, you need to have, first of all, a carbon-carbon double bond, and a carbon-carbon double bond is very special because it does not rotate, and so that restricts the rotation in the actual molecule itself. That means you can end up with, of course, two compounds. They're going to have the same structural formula, but they've got a different arrangement of atoms in space. Now, if we were to look at each carbon atom in the actual double bond itself, so let's say we've got carbon 1 and carbon 2 over here, they need to be attached to two different groups, which could be methyl, ethyl, whatever it is. In this case, it's a chlorine. You can see we've got two different groups attached over here, and then of course on the other side I've also got two different groups attached over there, and of course we know we can end up with E and Z isomers. Now, of course, if you've got two pairs of groups, you can actually refer to these as cis and trans as well. So this one on the left hand side, we can actually call it cis, and then we can say it's going to be 1,2-dichloroethene, and then this one we can say it's going to be trans, and that's going to be 1,2-dichloroethene as well. But I prefer to use the terms E and Z. So yeah, moving on then, I've got a task for you to do. Feel free to pause the video and have a go at the following questions, and then resume once you're ready to go over the answers. So you're looking at the first one over here. We're told to use IUPAC nomenclature, and we need to systematically name the following compounds. Now we would normally follow the rules as normal, but we say, of course, we highlight the longest carbon chain, and we look at the functional groups. I've got an iodine here, iodine there, carbon-carbon double bond. Now I need to number it. It doesn't matter which way I go in this case. It's going to be 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. Of course, the examiners, and I like to draw out the alkenes like this, where we're highlighting the fact that we've got a carbon-carbon double bond. So I know I've got 4 carbon atoms. I've got an iodine and the alkene at position 2, and then I've got another iodine at position 3. Now the thing is, we need to identify, is it going to be an E or a Z isomer? In this case, right, if I look at my groups of priority, or just groups in general, right, I've got iodine, iodine, they're going to be arranged opposite from each other, right, they're on opposite sides of the double bond. And then my methyls, they're going to be, of course, opposites to each other as well. You could just look at one of them, but in this case, I'm looking at both of them. So I know over here I've got an E isomer, so I'm going to put in brackets E, and that's going to represent, of course, the Entgegen isomer, where they're at opposite sides of the carbon-carbon double bond. And then I'm just going to name it as normal. So in this case, I've got, it's going to be 2, 3, and then it's going to be diiodo, and then it's going to be but 2ene itself. And there's that one done. Looking at the next one over here, you can see, of course, I've got 6 carbon atoms in my longest carbon chain. I've got an alkene here, methyl there, and a methyl there as well. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and then it's going to be 4, 5, 6 carbon atoms all together. Doesn't really matter if I go from left to right or right to left in this case. If I were to actually name this, I need to look at my groups. So I've got over here the methyls. They're going to be attached, of course, at opposite sides. So I know it's going to be E. I could look at it in terms of these ethyls. They're going to be attached at opposite sides as well. It's going to be E. Either way, it's still going to be E. And so I end up calling this one E. And then I've got methyls at the 3rd and the 4th position. So it's going to be 3, 4. And then it's going to be dimethyl. And then it's going to be, of course, hex. And the alkene's at position 3, so it's going to be 3ene itself with that one. And there is our name with respect to the stereoisomerism in the actual compound itself. Now let's see if we were to look at question 2, right, we're asked to draw the structures this time. So I've got E-but-2ene. There's 2 ways to do this, and I'm going to do both. What you can do is you can highlight the double bond, so you can end up with a carbon-carbon double bond, which looks like this. And then, of course, you can attach to it the semi-structural formula, where you've got, of course, your CH3 attached over here, and then your CH3 attached over here. Because of course it's an E isomer, we've got them at opposite sides as well, and you can see I've shown the bond going directly to the carbon atom. Yeah, I'm going to add in my hydrogens now, so I end up with H there and then H there. That's one way to draw it. Now what about if I were to do this in terms of skeletal formula? Well, I would need to make sure, because it's an E isomer, that both of my methyl groups, they're pointing in opposite directions. So I end up with, of course, my carbon-carbon double bond, and I've got methyl that way and methyl that way as well. You could have drawn it with respect to the zigzag shape as well, where you could have drawn it out like this, where you've got, of course, each methyl, you can see one's going to be pointing that way, one's pointing that way. They're both at opposite sides. Whereas if it was a Z isomer, they would both be pointing like this and like this instead. So you're looking at the next one then. I've got here Z, and it's going to be 3,4-dibromo-hex-3ene. In terms of this, it's a Z isomer. I'm going to have a carbon-carbon double bond like this, and attached to each carbon I'm going to have a bromine, but they both have to be at the same side of the carbon-carbon double bond. So you end up with something that looks like this. Now, of course, I'm going to drop the rest of the structure because it's hex-3ene. We already know that we're going to have the middle kind of bond in the actual molecule. That's going to be the carbon-carbon bond, and we're going to have over here, we're going to have C, and then it's going to be H2, then it's going to be CH3 after that. Do the same thing over here. I end up with CH2, and then I end up with CH3 after that as well. And there's my Z isomer done. What about if I were to draw it with respect to, of course, skeletal formula? Well, I'm going to end up with a carbon-carbon double bond here, and then I'm going to end up with, of course, my bromines attached to the same side like this. And then I'm going to have, of course, my alkyl groups, 1, 2 carbon atoms there, and then 1, 2 carbon atoms there as well. And there's the answer to that next question. So yeah, that's how I would go about it. I would obviously stick with this example over here because it's easier to draw, and then this one over here as well. So moving on then, what about if we're dealing with a more challenging example? Let's say I've got one bromo, one iodo, propanene. In this example, I've got a carbon-carbon double bond. I've got on the first carbon atom attached a bromine. I've also got an iodine here as well. On the second carbon atom, I've got the rest of the carbon chain, which is going to be CH3. And then I've got a hydrogen as well. Now, if I were to look at this, we have to follow something called Cahn-Ingold priority rules. And this is where we look at the atom with a higher atomic number. And we say, of course, that's going to take a higher priority. Now, if I were to look at this, right, depending on how these groups of priority are going to be arranged, we can end up with an E isomer where the highest priority groups, they're on opposite sides of the actual carbon-carbon double bond itself, and then a Z isomer where the highest priority groups, they're going to be on the same side of the carbon-carbon double bond. Now, how do we actually assign priority? Well, what I like to do is of course split the carbon-carbon double bond down the middle and then focus on one side at a time. Look on the left hand side, the bromine versus iodine. Iodine has a greater priority because it's got a higher atomic number compared to the bromine, which has a lower atomic number itself. We look at it on an atom by atom basis. Look on the right hand side, I've got hydrogen, and I look at the first bonded atom. If there's any more bonded atoms, I just cancel it out and move on to the next one if it's the same. So in this case, right, carbon, that's got an atomic number that's going to be higher than hydrogen, and so that's going to be 1 and that's going to be 2 itself. Now let's see, if I were to find the actual isomer that I've got, I would need to look at how they're going to be arranged, these groups of priority. In this case, there are opposite sides, so we know of course we've got an E isomer, but then I can actually just draw that out in a nice clean manner. But if I wanted to show the Z isomer, I would need to rearrange them so they're going to be at the same sides. So let's say if I were to draw the actual E isomer itself, what would I actually end up with? Well, I would end up with the structure as shown. So I just end up with carbon-carbon double bond. I've got CH3 there, keep it intact, and then I end up with a hydrogen there, and then I end up with, of course, my bromine and iodine as it is as shown. And so there's my E isomer. Now, I can't actually call this cis and trans because I don't have 2 pairs of groups. I've got 4 different groups altogether. What about if I were to draw my Z isomer? Well, I'll just flip one side. So let's say I've got my carbon-carbon double bond over here. So I end up with something that looks like this. I've got CH3 here. Could flip this side, but I'm not going to. I'm going to flip the other side, so I end up with, of course, iodine at the top and then bromine over here. Our groups of priority, they're going to be at the same side, so in that case I know I've got a Z isomer itself. So yeah, moving on then, I've got a task for you to do. Feel free to pause the video and have a go at the following questions and then resume once you're ready to go over the answers. So looking at this first one over here, I'm going to look at iodine versus carbon. I've split it down the middle, and I'm going to say, of course, on an atom by atom basis, iodine actually has a higher priority compared to the carbon. Look at the next side. I've got over here carbon versus carbon. They're both going to be the same, but then we've got 2 hydrogens here that we can get rid of, and we're comparing the last hydrogen here with, of course, the carbon atom over here. Now the carbon atom at the top, that's going to take priority, so of course that's going to be 1 and that's going to be 2. So we know over here so far we actually have a Z isomer, so of course we put Z in brackets and then we just name it as noble. So I've got, of course, 1 2 3, and then it's going to be 4 5 6 carbon atoms all together, and then I've got a methyl that's going to be at the 3rd position, the alkene is at the 2nd position, and the iodo is going to be at the 2nd position as well. So in this case I'm going to call it 2 iodo. Again, remember alphabetical order. Then it's going to be 3 methyl, and then it's going to be, of course, hex, and then it's going to be 2 in itself. And there's that one done there. Look at the next one, split it down the middle again. I'm going to compare bromine with carbon. I know, of course, the bromine takes priority, and then that's going to have a higher atomic number. The carbon doesn't. Compare carbon with hydrogen, and I know, of course, the carbon will take priority over here. So in terms of this isomer, what type of isomer is it that we've got? Well, if you look at it, we've got, of course, our groups of priority at the same side of the carbon-carbon double bond. So this one's going to be a Z as well. So in that case, I'm going to call it Z. So I name it using our UPAC. So I've got 1 2 3. And then I've got 4 5 carbon atoms all together. I've got alkene at position 2, halogen at position 2 as well. No branches or anything like that, so that's just going to be called 2. And then it's going to be bromo, and then it's going to be pent 2 ene itself. And there's my structure there, and that's that one done. Look at the next one. I'm going to split it down the middle again. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to end up with a carbon-carbon double bond split. Assign my priority, carbon versus bromine. The bromine is going to have higher priority compared to the carbon. And then this one, we've got carbon attached, so that can cancel. Then I've got two lots of hydrogen here that can cancel with these two over here. So I'm comparing the final hydrogen with the next carbon atom attached over here. The carbon takes priority itself. So in that case, right, if we were to look at it, we've actually got an E isomer because the groups of priority, they're going to be at opposite sides. So what I end up calling this one is, the naming part now is going to be a bit more complicated because we've got all sorts going on. But again, I've got carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3. Then we come down here, 4 and 5. So it's going to be pent. And on the 2 position, I've got an alkene and a bromine. On the 3 position, we have a methyl as well. So it's going to be 2 bromo. And then it's going to be 3 methyl. And then it's going to be pent 2ene. And there's that one done itself. So yeah, what about the next one over here? So we've got skeletal formula, but we just follow the same rules. And a lot of people tend to struggle with skeletal formula because they can't see the missing hydrogen there. But I like to draw it on. Compare my groups of priority. So I've got 1 here, 2 there, because bromine has a larger atomic number. And then over here, chlorine has a larger atomic number compared to carbon, because of course we've got a CH3 there as well. And so I know that's going to be 2. If I were to look at it, it's going to be an E isomer straight away. So it's quite hard to see, but always follow the rules. And then I'm going to end up with naming this one. So I've got a halogen on carbon 1 over here. So that's going to be number 1. Then we've got number 2. And then we've got carbon atom number 3. So it's going to be prop. And we've got bromo and chloro. We put it in alphabetical order. So I've got 1 bromo. And then it's going to be 2 chloro. And then it's going to be prop. And then it's going to be 1 ene. And there's that one done as well.